This is the first public preview of the LIX change control system. I'm going to demonstrate LIX and what change control is with this email newsletter CSV file, but LIX works with any other file format as well. There are three things you need to know about LIX. Number one, let me direct this over. You can store files in LIX. Number two, LIX is able to track and control the changes that you do in these files. And number three, the big insight behind LIX is that no matter what work we create, writing a blog post, creating music together, producing a film, it always revolves around changes. So knowing what changed in some file is very valuable information to understand what's going on. But technically knowing what changed means that expensive features such as versioning, collaboration, and sync and automations become trivial to build. And that's the big insight behind LIX. So let's continue the demo. I just inserted this email newsletter CSV file. LIX tells me that there are 13 changes, and I want to see what changed. So I'm going to open this CSV in this LIX CSV application. I'm going to go into the Changes tab, and I can see here that LIX tracked the insertion of 3 new rows. And that is correct. That is the initial import. So that's the initial import. Let me confirm those changes. As I mentioned, knowing what changed suddenly makes a lot of features very simple, such as versioning. I can create a new version here and say, you know what, Peter is a nice name, but I think Alexander is nicer. There we are. LIX knows what changed, so LIX applications can query those changes and display that I changed Peter to Alexander. But as I mentioned, I'm in a different version. So if I go back to main, Peter stays Peter. There's a very easy way to experiment with files now. You can just create a new version. I do think that Alexander is a nicer name than Peter, so let me merge Dingo's mates into main. There we are. Let me confirm this change again and say that Alexander is a nicer name. There we go, confirm. Let me go back to the file manager. There we are. And the file manager is now also displaying the changes in here. Beautiful. Alexander is a nice name, and I agree. As I mentioned, automations are a big part of change control. Knowing that I just changed Peter to Alexander, I can set up automations because LIX knows what changed, so I can say, hey, if something in this file changed, and I can specifically say that the first name of someone in the spreadsheet or any other condition, I can trigger automations. Again, knowing what changed is so powerful, and LIX is the first system that provides change control for all sorts of files and leads to features like automation pipelines, which are suddenly trivial to build. Cool. Everything I've shown you so far runs locally in the browser, and you can just download all the files and send them around, but you want to have real-time collaboration with people. For that, we can just turn on sync, and I can take this link and send it to another person. I'm going to simulate that now by opening another browser, paste it in here, and voila, we are in the same file. And I can see that Peter to Alexander is a nicer name? I don't think so. I don't think so. Please revert the change. There we go. Here, that's the power of change control, right? I can now see that Samuel changed Peter to Alexander, and I do think that was the wrong change. Peter is definitely a nicer name than Alexander. You get the gist. Change control means any file format that you have stored in LIX, you can see the changes that happen in those files. You can build apps on top of LIX that can show directly in an application what changed. And all of that is running in the browser. To any developer out there, this should be familiar, but this is for everyone else but developers. We're curious to see what you can come up with, what files you want to store in LIX. Try out the demo. It's very buggy, but it works in the basics. And over the next coming weeks, we're going to release the LIX SDK, which will enable anyone to build LIX applications and query changes. This is really what LIX provides. Make changes available for the first time. All right, that's it for now.